Am I the a-hole for taking back my PS5 my mom gave to our cousin as a gift? I'm a 19-year-old male. My mother is 57 and my cousin is 13-year-old male. So I waited until 2021 November to try a PS5. I've been trying since release. And on the 22nd of November, I finally got one. I was so excited to do everything with this console and couldn't wait that I bought another controller and so many games to have with this baby, even though I took out a bit of my time/savings. But this is also the time when people take Christmas presents into consideration, and I kept this like a present to myself. My cousin, I'll call him Joe, has autism, and I love the little dude. But I need to clarify that he's very spoiled and his parents don't do anything to teach him a lesson. He really wanted a PS5, and there were so many tantrums when he didn't get one. So to keep the peace, my mom took my PS5 when I was at school and hid it from me. I was shocked when I didn't see it there, and I really started to cry as I spent so much money for it. My mom told me that she took my PS5 to calm down my cousin, and that she'll pay me back. And her idea of paying me back is an iPad. I yelled at her for so long, saying how long it took me to get it and save up money for it, and how dare she do that and invade my space. She hung up on me saying I wasn't being myself and giving me time to calm down. But I wasn't ready to calm down. I went to my cousin's house, rang up the doorbell, took my PS5 and games. I forgot to mention she took the games as well. A £300 iPad isn't going to cover £700 worth of stuff. And then went home. My aunt tried to stop me saying how this is all my sweet baby wants for Christmas. But I didn't care and drove straight home. My whole family's giving me so much pressure, saying I should give it back as it's not my right to go against my mother's wishes. I do feel kind of bad since his family's not that financially stable, and them buying a PS5, if they can find one, will screw up some stuff. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. It's yours and your mother stole it. That's a crime now. Family or not, doesn't matter. Yeah, it's sad that your cousin's family doesn't have much money, but it's still a crime to steal stuff then. My sister used to give my stuff away. I always took it back from the person who got my stuff. I told her one more time and I'll report her to the police, because it's mine. If your mother want to gift him a PS5, she can buy one and give it to him. This one is yours. My mom used to give away my stuff, so I started giving her stuff away. She never gave away anything of mine again. It's petty, but I'd love for Opie to offer one of his mother's belongings as compensation to the aunt. Not stay home, but make sure you either take it with you or lock it up every time you leave. She will give it back. I hate how families like that. You work your butt off for your things and they try to give them away. I've put a lock on the room where I keep all of my important things, so I don't have to go through it again. Lock receipts and pictures, including a photo of the receipt in your email or storage, whether it's USB drive, cloud, or both. Not stay home. However, I'm guessing your mom did this because she doesn't really understand the difference between a PS5 and an iPad. Seems odd, I know, but I've encountered situations where people think any computer-esque device is either a laptop or an iPad. Tell her to get your cousin the iPad. Tell your mom to go buy him one with her money. Good luck. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not letting my cousin borrow my wedding dress? 5 years ago, I got married, and I had a costume wedding dress made by my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law has since passed in a car accident. It was so unexpected, and it broke my husband's heart. So now we are saving the wedding dress for my daughter who was named after my mother-in-law. My cousin Gigi, no direct blood relationship with my mother-in-law, is now wanting to wear my wedding dress. Her mother, and my granny are all on this warpath that this is her dream dress, and I should let her wear it. That it would be a tribute to my mother-in-law. Again, this is my side of the family and no direct relationship to my mother-in-law. Gigi was obsessed with my wedding dress when I had it, and she has already said she wanted to wear it. Gigi is not my size, much larger front and hips, so the dress would have to be majorly altered. My husband said no. He wants to have our daughter wear it when she's grown up, and have it altered for her or turned into a veil. My daughter is under a year, and my family said that's years off, and that I should let them borrow it now. My cousin has turned petty at my refusal, and has disinvited my parents, siblings, and their children. She told us because I'm costing her thousands of dollars because she's had to pay for a dress to look like mine. And she's also mad because I won't lend her my dress to have it copied because I 100% don't trust her with it. My auntie and granny have banned me from their life over this because it's the one thing my cousin has wanted since she saw me in my wedding dress. I was told if I don't do this, I'm cut off from any events my granny hosts. And my mom is too because she has raised such a selfish and entitled daughter. Not stay home. They are being ridiculous. However, please don't pressure your daughter to wear it when she's older. She deserves her own dream. Good point. A wedding dress that your grandmother made that your parents have been saving for you your entire life. That's a huge obligation for something that should be a personal choice. Obviously, but most wedding dresses have tons of fabric. So most can be reused as potentially anything, within reason. I have a family friend that turned her 80s wedding dress into christening gowns for her grandkids, and there's still material left over. Not stay whole, but your family has inspired me. There is an amazing apartment with a terrace in my building that I have wanted ever since we moved in. I'm going to knock on their door and demand the apartment, because apparently if you see something you like, you are automatically entitled to it. Absolutely. If they stop you, they're standing in the way of your dream. Or write off the entire side of the family, because they could all pressure Opie into doing something she said no to. What a psycho. He had a former sister-in-law that wrote off the entire side of her husband's family, a brother, side of the family over a comment one person, not immediate family, made to her, which she took as a rude comment. My mother never saw her grandchildren grow up. 12 years later, my brother finally divorced her. Completely toxic situation. And sadly, we don't really have a connection to the kids. Not stay home. She is only entitled to what she can afford. I would caution you to make sure you place your dress in a very secure place. You don't want them showing up to visit, only to later discover they stole your dress. Next story. Am I the a-hole for hiring a babysitter without asking and forwarding the bill to my brother? Plus a little update. I, 23 female, have a nephew and niece, 5 and 7 years old. My brother called last week and asked me to take them for 2 days as he and my sister-in-law had a doctor's appointment out of state. I agreed, but warned them that I can only watch the kids Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, I had a bunch of important meetings, and I will be glued to my laptop for hours, unable to check on the kids. He said he got it. Well, Tuesday around 8 p.m., they were supposed to be picked at 9:30 p.m. My brother called and asked me to keep them another day because they got delayed and have not even started driving back. I got pissed off because if I was told earlier, maybe I might have been able to postpone most meetings or even call in sick. However, no one was at work at 8 p.m., and I find it unprofessional to cancel the same day without a really good reason. I told him to come get his kids, and he became very defensive and rude, calling me unsupportive. To be clear, they went for a tummy tuck for my sister-in-law. No real medical emergency. He called mom, but she had already gone to bed, and he had the audacity to tell me to drive 1.5 hours to her house, wake her up, and make her take the kids. I said no. We fought more with my sister-in-law giving her 2 cents in the background as well, before they hung up and stopped picking up till the next day. I found a nice babysitter the next day, thankfully, and because it was last minute, I paid $200 for a few hours. Still mad, I just forwarded a bill to my brother, expecting him to pay. My sister-in-law called and screamed her butt off, calling me a irresponsible witch, because how dare I leave her kids with a stranger? I was in the middle of work still, and hung up on her and just forwarded a bill to her as well. An hour later, my mom showed up at my house and took the kiddos. Now my brother is still refusing to pay, and my mom said I was petty. Things come up, and it was wrong of me not to consult them before hiring a babysitter for so much money. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I don't think I explained well everything because I am still angry. Some facts I missed. I called twice my brother in the morning to inform him of the babysitter. He did not pick up. My mom will work 1 to 2 p.m., and if I had taken the kids to her house, it would have been her neighbor, Marcy, watching them. I start work at 8 a.m., so as you can imagine, I would have had to get the kids up at 4 a.m. and run out the house at 4:30 a.m. to be safe if there is traffic. And that particular day, I worked overtime, so from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. If I wanted to save my brother some money, I would have had to screw both with the kids' sleeping schedule and mine. Plus, Marcy was not answering at 9 p.m. We were pretty sure she could take them, but my mom confirmed this only at 7 a.m., which means my workday would have been postponed to at least 10:30 if I was to drop them off with Marcy. Hope this makes sense. Also, I work from home. I was keeping an eye on the babysitter and children. Also to add, my work is productivity-based. I have to file a report every Friday on what I have done and someone goes over it. Some days I work an hour or two, others I stay 14 hours coding. My mom knows this well, and she argued my meetings can be postponed till the next day, which they could, but it would leave a very bad impression with my superiors, as one of the meetings concerned a promotion I had asked for, and they were reviewing my projects and productivity. I am 23, this is my dream job. Maybe my work would have understood considering how chill they usually are, but I was not taking a chance. My career means a lot to me. Now for the top comments before the little update. Not stay home. How would you be able to consult them if they stopped answering their phones? It is on your brother and sister-in-law to find alternate coverage when they were delayed. But they didn't, so you had to make sure it didn't affect your job. They knew you had to work on Wednesday, and their only thought was to have you drive 1.5 hours to physically wake up your mom? Nah, I can see if she maybe lived 10 to 30 minutes away, but not 1.5 hours. They shouldn't have stopped communicating and need to pay up. This whole situation is on them, and don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Your only downfall was agreeing to watch their kids so your sister-in-law could have plastic surgery. This is the thing that shocked me the most. Have your kids. In what world would you stop picking up for well over 12 hours? What if I was not calling to fight, but for something related to their health and well-being? Yep, you don't stop communicating with a person who has your children without a really good reason. And them being told they needed to abide by the original agreement times is not a valid reason to ignore your calls or texts. Not stay home. Who gave them the days you were available? They agreed to those days. They tell you 1 hour before they were supposed to pick them up you were getting stuck with them another day despite knowing your situation. For them to call 1 hour before pickup and haven't even left yet means they knew hours previous to that call that they weren't going to make it in time, but chose to not say anything until the last minute, and they wanted you to fix the situation by picking up your life doing a 3-hour round trip to wake your mom up in the middle of the night because they are irresponsible. I'd 100% put my foot down and say until the money's repaid, no future babysitting will be happening for any length of time for any reason at all. After this behavior, no babysitting, period. I spent the better part of my nights panicking what to do and thinking of a very good lie for work. I maybe slept 2 to 3 hours waiting for the morning to start calling babysitting agencies, and if no luck, my manager and get an earful from him. Not stay home. They can afford a tummy tuck and several nights away in a hotel, then they can afford to pay for babysitting. You might not get the money back, but pay the sitter. Then never take their kids again. Not even 10 minutes. Oh, and tummy tucks aren't a real easy recovery. Definitely let them experience the consequences of no longer having you as a resource when she has her vanity procedure. Now for the little update. I sent this post to my brother, sister-in-law, and mom, and they all went nuts. At this point, I am being petty and a-holish, but I regress. With most people telling not to a-hole here, I kinda gained some confidence to lash back further. Thank you. You can all rest assured my brother and sister-in-law are pissed our family's dirty laundry was aired on the whole wide web. Insert an eye roll because account is anonymous, and I have not mentioned any names of parties involved. I have been uninvited from Easter, and I was informed I can stick my $200 where the sun doesn't shine. Well, worth it to annoy them. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not canceling my Bachelorette trip because of my sister-in-law's emergency? Last weekend was my Bachelorette trip. The hotel my friends and I would stay at was booked. We had already made so many arrangements, but I didn't cancel any of that after my sister-in-law had a health emergency and was rushed into hospital. She had a heart attack 2 days before I'd leave for the trip. For context, my sister-in-law and I have always had a very bad relationship because she has been racist towards me. She has insulted my 6-year-old son whom I have from another marriage. She has urged her kids to bully my son, and she claims that if her and my fiancé's mother was still alive, she'd make sure I'd never get married to my fiancé. She's also tried to get my fiancé to hook up with one of her friends in order to break us up. My fiancé is low contact with her, but to this point, I'm completely no contact. And at the wedding, I'm simply gonna tolerate her for my fiancé's sake. When she had a heart attack, my fiancé told me to immediately cancel the trip and plans, because it wouldn't be right of me to celebrate while his sister is at the hospital. I told him that I'm not gonna cancel a trip my friends that I have already paid for a woman who would probably celebrate on my hospital bed if I were in her position. He said I'm right, but I should cancel because regardless, it's gonna be a bad look for his relatives if I disrespect his sister like that. He said he doesn't really care. He just wants to avoid a drama of his family. I told him I honestly don't give a damn about what his relatives will think, because all of them were bystanders not doing anything or saying anything while she was horrible to me the whole time. He supported my decision, but after that, his relatives were of course mad at me and cussing me out, and threatened to not attend a wedding. Am I the a-hole? Info. Why are you marrying a man who not only lets his sister treat you this way, but who lets his sister treat your child this way? My fiancé and his sister did not get along either. She was horrible to him as well throughout childhood because they had different dads. She's the oldest one, and she didn't consider him a brother unless it benefited her agenda. They've only been low contact and only wish each other on holidays and birthdays. He wasn't even 100% certain he wanted her at the wedding, but invited her in order to avoid drama with the rest of the relatives. He didn't care about me going on the trip. He only cared about not causing drama with the rest of his family. Has fought with her many times over her actions. Okay, that's good to hear. I still think you're not the a-hole, but I wasn't sure about him. I can't blame him for not wanting drama with the extended family, but if they know how she treats you, then they shouldn't fault you either. And like you say, they're all to blame for not defending you to her. I mean, there is peacekeeper, then there is pushover. There are times to keep the peace, but having someone being racist towards your fiancé and encouraging the bullying of your future stepchild is not it. I would blow up any relationships I had to get that kind of person out of my life personally. Your fiancé is avoiding conflict at your expense. The only people his appeasement policy helps are himself and his racist sister. Not stay home. Sounds like it worked out if the toxic relatives won't attend a wedding. Yep, go and enjoy yourself. If any relatives want to miss the wedding over this, good riddance. Am I the a-hole for being truthful about why I want to move in with my dad? My mom and stepdad are foster parents, but living with foster kids is kind of awful. Nothing against them, and I really hope they're getting the help they need, but it sucks. I was forced into the tiny room, which is fine, but I also can't leave my room. I can't play music or video games. I always have to let them pick movies and TV shows. I feel like a prisoner in my own home, and I can speak up about it because then I'm being ungrateful. I know it's nowhere near what most kids experience, but I still hate it. For months, I've been begging my dad to let me move in with him. I spend all my time there, and it would just make more sense. Logically, I know I'll never be able to. He's working 70 hours a week living in a one-bedroom apartment, but it's fun to pretend. My mom and stepdad don't seem to understand where I'm coming from. I should be grateful. I have clean clothes on my back and food in my stomach. Whenever I try to explain, they never listen and point out how much better I have it. Anyway, I was talking to my cousin on Monday and mentioned staying with my dad this weekend. She asked why, and I explained that I just don't like being at home. She asked why, and if that's why I want to move in with my dad, and I said yes and explained how I felt. She eventually went home and told her mom, I guess. Yesterday, my aunt pulled up and basically demanded to know what was going on. I don't know what exactly happened, but they got into an argument and my cousin came up to help me pack some clothes for a few days. When we went down, my parents accused me of making things up, saying that I had no need to feel the way I do. My aunt didn't really give me a chance to reply before we left. I went home today to grab some stuff, and they called me selfish, saying I created an aggressive atmosphere which wasn't good for the foster kids. So I said, I don't care about the foster kids right now. Why do they matter more than me? My stepdad told me to get out, so I did. A whole bunch of family has blocked me in socials, and my foster sister has been posting about how I'm selfish and only care about my own feelings. My dad is now clued in, and he and my aunt are both saying that I'm not in the wrong for feeling the way I do. But no one else seems to agree. So am I the a-hole? Edit. A few people have mentioned some things I should add. I'm 14, and my mom and stepdad are currently fostering 2 sibling sets. One set of 3 girls and another set of 2 girls and 4 boys. Totaling 9 foster kids. And 3 of the kids are diagnosed with autism, as some people have asked about that. No, they don't make any profit. They do love their kids and fully intend on adopting them all. They're amazing parents. Just not to me. And no, I will not be calling their social worker or whatever. I'm not doing that to my foster siblings. I'm hoping to convince my mom that me moving out will be better because it creates more room for any emergency fosters or something. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. They shouldn't be fostering if it's at the expense of another child. And regardless, you're entitled to your feelings. I understand that they're helping, but it kinda sucks. My brother and sister-in-law have fostered 4 kids at different times, but they already have 4 kids. They had to adapt, obviously, but they understood that their children were their children, that their voices were always heard, babysitting, hanging out with, etc. And it's been a very constructive atmosphere, because they also made a time to be with their own children individually at different times, so that they don't feel like a spare or something like that. Your feelings are completely valid, and your mom and stepdad are a-holes for dismissing your emotions and thoughts so openly. Do whatever you need to do to be healthy, Opie. Not an a-hole. Your feelings are valid, and they don't stop being valid just because other people might have it worse. That is a really unhealthy mindset. You deserve to feel safe, happy, and comfortable at home. If you don't experience that living at your mother's house, there's no shame in trying other living arrangements. Sometimes just have to do what's right for you. I'm kinda stuck here, but thank you. Please call the social services agency that placed the fosters with your mom and stepdad and tell them all of this. They're essentially making you a prisoner in your own home, not allowing you to do standard teenage activities, not listening to your needs or wants, and disregarding your feelings. Not the a-hole. Have you ever had the opportunity to speak to the social worker that connects with your parents? Because you should have been interviewed about your comfort level with us. You need to contact a DHS and tell them that your parents are doing foster care, and your stepdad told you to get out because you complained to your cousin about feeling uncomfortable in your own home. This is a huge red flag. Edit. Opie mentions in an edit that his mother and stepfather currently have 9 foster children in their home. That is unusual, as most states limit the maximum number of minor children in the home to 6. And given that several of those children are special needs, it is definitely a red flag. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for bringing my daughter to a water park with a friend instead of her stepsister, my ex's stepdaughter? I took my daughter 12 to a water park with her best friend last weekend. I'd planned ahead with the parents and we stayed a couple of nights. This was our first time going anywhere in 3 years, and it was the first time she got to take someone with us. But given the way things have been in the last year and how good she did at keeping up in school, I wanted to reward her. The trip came up while my daughter was with me. She goes to her dad every other week. He's married and has a stepdaughter the same age as my daughter and 2 stepsons who are 6. My daughter and her stepsister aren't close, and it bothers the hell out of my ex. He has tried to sue for more time just so they are forced to be around each other more. And my ex is always asking for more time with our daughter so she can bond better with her stepmom and step-siblings. I always say no because I never take his time with her from him or her, so he doesn't get to do it to us either. He has always asked where I can include his step-kids, and I'll be honest, I don't. For 2 reasons. I normally don't bring other kids, and because my daughter has always asked not to be forced to bring them. Her dad has brought it up around her. She said her dad suffocates her with them, and she's tired of him always trying to make them close when they just don't feel it. So when he found out her friend came with us to the water park, he was furious. What made it worse was his stepdaughter was in the car when we were doing the exchange, and she saw my daughter's friend's t-shirt that she bought there and realized where we'd gone. Apparently, she has dreamed of going for years, but never got to. Ex told me I should have made her take stepsister over a friend, and his wife called and told me I didn't need to flaunt it in front of her daughter. I said I never flaunted it, but I wasn't going to make my daughter's friend hide either. They gave my daughter hell for it while she was at her dad's. It makes me question if I'm the a-hole for not including her stepsister in this. You're definitely not the a-hole. Your ex is. It's so weird that he expects you to treat his new wife's child as family. You should encourage a friendship, yes, and be kind to her. But you owe them nothing. It's his responsibility, not yours. Especially when you're footing the bill. And it's more fun for your daughter to get to take a friend too. It is also really important to point out that even blood siblings shouldn't be forced to go to every event and share everything all the time. It breeds resentment, and there's literally no benefit to anyone when parents do it. You will find Reddit riddled with posts about siblings and step-siblings being forced to do everything together, and it breaks my heart. Not the a-hole. If the father wants the two girls to go to a water park together, then he and his wife can take them. And bullying your daughter over it is appalling. If nothing else, it will ensure that the two girls never become friends. Worse, it will probably ruin any relationship she might hope to have with her father in the future. It sounds like they want to go so that they can pressure them into spending more time together. They didn't want to go to the water park. They wanted another opportunity for them to bond. Want to add, the parents might even want to dump the kids in OP while they go on all the slides in Lazy River so they can get a break from the kids. Absolutely not, a-hole. He is alienating his own daughter for step-kids. Guess he's gonna pick mom when she's old enough. Bingo. That is setting the stage for low contact or no contact in the future. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister her kids and step-kids aren't really mad at each other but mad at her and her husband? My sister has 2 kids. Her son is 11 and her daughter is 9. She has 3 step-kids. Her stepson is 10, stepdaughters are 9 and 7. They got married 3 years ago, and honestly, my sister and her husband messed it up pretty badly. They were long-distance dating for 4 years and lived 2,500 miles from each other. So they decided to wait for any big moves until they were getting married. 1 month before the day came, he moved in with my sister and her kids. None of the kids had met each other or their future step-parent. The day they moved in happened, it became very clear that the kids were not once super excited to go through the change and super happy for more people, regardless of how much their parents wanted it for them. My nephew and niece have told me they resent the hell out of my sister and her husband for what they did. My nephew told me he hates his mom for moving her husband and step-kids in all at once, and never giving them the opportunity to know the people or feel how they felt before it was a done deal. He even said, what if they had been jerks to them? There was no going back so close to the wedding. The kids fight each other a lot, and generally don't get along. All have resisted bonding with their respective step-parent too. My sister and her husband think the kids hate each other. And especially lately it has come up a lot because the kids don't even mention having step-siblings or step-parents new people. It bothers my sister, and she has come to me several times with her frustrations but never wanting advice. Finally, the other day, she was doing the same over and over and over again because she found out her daughter had made it seem that it was just the 3 of them still to one of her friend's parents, and the parents seemed shocked there was a step-family involved. She said she doesn't get why the kids hate each other so much. And it was getting hard to listen to her talk about it, especially when I had asked her to stop on more than one occasion and had cut her off before. So I decided to tell her that the kids don't actually hate each other. They're not mad at each other. They're mad at her and her husband. She was stunned and said they had no reason to be mad at them, that it must be the kids. Well, she found out by asking her kids directly that I was right, and now she's pissed. She said I had no right to interfere and judge her, and make it sound like her kids hated her. Our parents told me I should have said nothing like she always wanted, but at some point, the truth had to be brought up, right? Or should I have stayed quiet? Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. You told her the truth. Poor kids. If OP's sister and her husband had spoken to any type of professional counselor, therapist, or child psychologist, psychiatrist, oh, I don't know, hell, even a pediatrician, they would have been told that the way they handled this is absolutely wrong. It was pretty much guaranteed to set these poor kids up for failure. Opie, you were not an a-hole at all. Your sister and her husband, though. Wow, huge a-holes. Not an a-hole. Not an a-hole. She needed someone to tell her, and you voiced what you observed. She's just mad because she and her husband screwed up by not introducing their new prospective family members to each other organically. I know distance played a role, but they couldn't organize any hangout time prior to the wedding? They could have tried, and ideally that's what people would do, but they never did. Those kids never laid eyes on those new people, nor did they ever say one word to them before they were all living together. Do the kids have to share rooms? That wouldn't help either. Unfortunately, they do. Last story. Am I the a-hole for favoring my daughter's room choice over my stepson's? I, 34 female, married my current husband, 41 male, 6 years ago. I have one daughter from a previous relationship, Annie, who is 16. My husband has a son from his previous marriage, Sean, who is 19. When my husband and I got married, we bought a 4-bedroom house. We took the master bedroom, leaving 3 of the children to decide between a larger one and 2 smaller ones that made up about the same square footage as the large one. We told the kids, Annie was 10, Sean was 13, that they had 2 options of how we could handle the bedrooms. 1, they could each take a small bedroom, and the large bedroom could be turned into a mutual hangout area for them to share. Or 2, one could take the larger bedroom and the other could have both smaller ones as their own. Sean, being a 13-year-old, wanted the large bedroom as his own. He and Annie decided that he'd take the larger one and should take the smaller ones. I did ask her many times if she was sure this is what she wanted, as she's quite shy, and I suspected Sean had more so told her than asked her. But she seemed content enough with it, and it didn't really make much difference to God what in the grand scheme of things. So that's how it was. Now, Annie has one of her rooms set up as her bedroom/hangout area, and the other set up as her closet/makeup area. She loves it and is happy with the setup. Sean, however, has just graduated high school and wants to switch bedrooms with Annie because he wants to turn one of the smaller rooms into a gaming/streaming room. I presume an idea he got from Annie because she makes makeup and fashion/fashion design/sewing videos in her studio, as she calls it. He asked Annie and Annie said no. He then asked me and I said ask Annie. He said he tried, but she was being unreasonable. I told him this is what they decided and that I wasn't going to force her to change now. He then got my husband involved, and they're both angry with me, saying I'm favoring Annie because she's my own child and treating Sean worse because he's not. Which, I've known him for half of his life and helped raise him our entire marriage. So that stings a little, even if it is true. My husband thinks that since Sean is an adult, he deserves to have the extra space. But honestly, it isn't even extra space. It's just separated, and he likes how Annie did it. I just feel like it would be very unfair to Annie to make her switch. Annie and Sean have had a pretty decent relationship, but Sean has been getting increasingly more passive-aggressive with her since this has come up. Am I the a-hole for not making Annie switch? Edit. Just to clarify, Sean wants to give Annie the big room and take the 2 smaller rooms as his own, and Annie isn't interested in switching at all. Not the a-hole. Your stepson was kind of greedy and took the big room. Now he is jealous because your daughter made it cool. Sean does not get to whine and get his way now. He doesn't deserve any extra for now being an adult, especially when he's acting like a whiny child. Kinda greedy? He is greedy, and he's also a boy. But I'm guessing he gets it from his father since his daddy sided with him. Not the Opie, but you will be if you don't talk to your husband about backing off. Your daughter shouldn't be punished by having to switch rooms just to please her live-in tormentor. And your husband shouldn't be enabling your stepson's behavior. Otherwise, the horrible behavior towards your daughter will just get worse. Not the a-hole. Sean seems to think it's unfair when he doesn't get what he wants. He's a 19-year-old brat whose a-hole father is enabling him. Now he's harassing his sister? Annie might need a lock for her makeup/clothes room. I'm not sure why a minor with 2 more years to go until she can move out is being expected to give up her space to an adult. Does Sean intend to live at home for the next few years? If so, Sean and his dad should put up a wall in Sean's room. Or it might be time for Sean to move out. He can do whatever he wants in his own apartment after all. You would be the a-hole if you give in to Sean's demands. He is trying to strong-arm you into getting his way. Just like he probably strong-armed Annie to take the small rooms when the original offer was put out. He sounds very entitled. Not Dayhole. It's also worrying that an adult man is being passive-aggressive to a teenage girl because he didn't get his way. If this is any indication of how he treats women, he needs to be schooled now. He made his choice a few years ago, and now she said no. He needs to accept that without any manipulative behavior. Yep, I'm in no way suggesting kicking him out, but at 19, they should be discussing his path to independence and what his future looks like, not allowing him to get ever more cozy at home, especially at the expense of their daughter. In addition, I think in accusing Opie of favoring her daughter, the husband has actually revealed his own feelings, which are that he doesn't view daughter as his own and thinks his son should be prioritized. He doesn't view daughter as his own. This is a very good point that I had not really thought of.